you heard what she was saying or whatever, and I was still rebuting it or and whatever like that. But the thing is, I was listening to what she was saying without her saying it. She was like, and one thing she did say that stuck out was the fact that she's like, well, basically she realized I wasn't gonna break on what I was trying to do, so she was like, well, shit, well, look here, you have the number, you have the card, you know what I'm saying? Like basically, okay, it doesn't belong. You don't have to use it. You don't have to use the number. You know what I'm saying? I looked at it like you damn right. I don't have to use. So it's like, so if I was to stay going on the same direction I was going in, as far as not using the number because I didn't want to hold responsibility or liability for whatever else comes along with the number, whatever case, I can simply not use the number. You see what I mean? So it's only by the use of the number that comes with the liability from the number. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I put that back down. But I also thought about if I did want to go back in and challenge it, and how I would do it. And I would do it the same way. Now, of course, this is before I had the conversation with you. I would do it the same way I did with everything else, because just like we go to court to go through administrative proceedings physically, I know from my experience, I can go to court by way of written declaration, which gives me goes through the same authorities as long as it's mailed a certain way and the same results or whatever. You know what I'm saying? A lot of different times I feel myself having a lot more security or wiggle room for the fact that I haven't boarded the ship physically. Just on my experience, I haven't boarded the ship physically, and since I can't, because if I walk inside the courtroom or any place, you say, and then and my objective is to break a contract or to get these people to recontract with my terms and conditions. You see what I mean? Then that'll just be me, my word against theirs, because I can hand them a whole pamphlet full of shit and walk out and say I gave it to them. But then I walk out and they throw the shit right in the garbage. Who's to say I really gave it to them? So by way of sending that shit to the right parties, by way of certified, if it's dealing with money, it need to be registered mail. So it goes directly to that person that we need to be addressing. So that person signs off on it, and now with that registered mail number, now it's bonded and insured. You see what I mean? So now we got the post office in the middle of it, and Postmaster General. You know what I'm saying? Directly, indirectly, using the powers of them. And of course, the documents and the affidavit that go on top of that. Which what I would have did next time if I was to do that again, if I really wanted to get rid of it, I would send a affidavit to rescind federal or state contracts. And then from just like everything you were just saying verbally, all that shit was like in my affidavit. You know what I'm saying? Cause based on the contracts that my parents and I were not aware of and did not agree to, and blah, 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 blah. So what I would do is, and this is something I just came up with actually the other day as far as using another administrative method by just written declaration or whatever and utilizing the post office. I thought, because for one, the clerk is an officer of the state. I mean, officer of the courts. So the notary, so that affidavit along with that application to the form, what form is that? The 521. So my affidavit that's on top of that, I would get that shit notarized with the officer of the courts, and then just like if we was in a court proceeding and it was a plaintiff versus a defendant. It's not about who likes each other, whatever like that. It's all about who has more proof and the facts and who has witnesses. So that's why on all my affidavits, I use a notary and two witnesses. So because I want people to witness the fraud. Because if it's the fraud that I'm exposing, I want somebody to witness it. So now I have proof from your officer and two witnesses of what I'm presenting you right now, and I have proof that you received it. And that you accepted it, and you see what I mean, and I have physical evidence of your acceptance, the date and time by way of the return receipt card, the green card. You know what I'm saying? But before I even send that, before I even send that shit in, I'm taking after I get that notary and them two witnesses. I'm taking that shit. Now I'm taking that shit I'm taking it to the court, to the clerk of the court, and now I'm gonna deposit it in there. I'm recorded in there, and then I'm gonna order. Look, I'm gonna order a certified copy from that copy with that clerk stamp on that. Then I'm gonna deliver that bitch.
There you go.
Game over. You said that. I don't like going to court. That's my strategies. I don't like going to court, so I think of shit like that.
Well, see, the thing is, if you use the court to your advantage, okay? Because I know how to make the judge operate correctly, okay? Because if he don't, I know I can file a tort claim into the Department of Justice and throw his ass under the bus, because the Department of Justice gonna throw him under the bus with that SS-95 form, because he violated the laws of the United States and the Constitution. Okay, the full faith and credit clause, that's where the Social Security Act derives from, and the 1935 Banking Emergency Act. Okay, they had to give us an unlimited credit line and give us a way to pay for something, because they took all the money off the street back in the 30s.
I got you. Yep.
Okay, so what we do is we sue the state. Okay, but you gotta go through the Attorney General's office first, administratively, to resolve your administrative remedy. Okay, once you go through the Attorney General's office, and he'll be like, okay, no, we're not gonna do that. Okay, then that's when you bring a lawsuit against the state, and you show with the SS-95 form how they are embezzling your federal funding. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is where I'm at right now. Okay, because I'm showing in the administrative hearing that I am not receiving my federal funding. Somebody else is receiving it on my behalf. And it all leads back to that birth certificate, because that's the proof of claim. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Without that birth certificate, the Social Security account can't function, can't exist. Okay? So by the state issuing that birth certificate, and the federal funding is being allocated for that birth certificate, then that makes me the holder in due course, because I got the birth certificate and the Social Security card with the number. Okay, and you was right when you said that the card don't belong to us, it belongs to the Social Security Administration, but the name on the card belongs to you. Okay? That name has been registered, it has been copyrighted, the Social Security Act. You got a copyright on that birth certificate. Like I said, can't nobody use your name but you. If somebody else uses your name, that's identity theft, right?
True. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's how you know your name is already copyrighted right there.
Oh, okay.
See, I feel like a lot of people is going around the whole bubble, and they're not paying attention to the Social Security Act. If you read what I gave you to read, those are the benefits that she was talking about. If she don't know, she didn't know about this. Because if she knew about this, then she would have went a whole nother route. She don't know about what I just said. Trust me, I done been to the headquarters of the Social Security Administration in D.C., and I asked the supervisor, if I'm not receiving my federal funding that's coming into my state, what do I do? He told me I had to file a federal lawsuit and show how I'm not getting my federal funding. And that's not hard to show, because why? The burden of me to take care of all of my affairs were put back onto me when what? All the property and the people were turned over to the United States.
Okay,
they're obligated to pay your debt, not you. This is why they gave you the Social Security number.
All right, I got a couple questions before you move forward.
Go ahead.
Let me see. All right. Now for the record, since we're recording or whatever, it's
okay.
The thing is like this is the purpose of a debate. You see what I mean? It's like okay. It's for understanding. It's for understanding of certain different avenues, perspectives, and concepts. You see what I mean? Now in your position, you exposing a whole nother outlet based on a whole nother outlook that you've seen or discovered, vice versa. The car does not belong to us. And I thought about this as far as, because like, okay, this car does not belong to us, but does that necessarily mean that the number or the name doesn't belong to us? Now,
No, it doesn't.
okay, so that's one thing. Right now, I believe that the name, that name is not our copywritten name. I believe that's the corporate name, the corporate title that was created without our consent. Now,
Well, who gave you your name, though? Your mother gave you your name.
right,
Okay, so when your mother gave you that name, okay, this created a trust. Okay, that created a trust. It's called a foreign insiders trust. Okay, when your mother gave you that name, this goes back to honoring your mother and father. Okay, by keeping your name straight, keeping your name clean. Okay, because your mother was the provider of that name. Okay, it was her intellectual property and her mind that gave you that name. And that name created a trust with who? With the federal government. Okay? We are all foreign to the United States. The only way you can become a United States citizen is if you raise your right hand and say, I swear to uphold the Constitution and the laws of the United States. Okay? Outside of that, you can never be a United States citizen. Okay? Just because you have a Social Security card and a Social Security number, that does not make you a United States citizen. Okay? The only way, you can go check it and see if you don't believe me, how to become a United States citizen. You have to have a visa. Or you have to declare your United States citizenship. The only way you can declare your United States citizenship is through what? An embassy.
well, now I can agree with that because I've declared other things, you know, and so it's the same. It will be the same procedure. So based on that concept, absolutely, I don't remember declaring to be a goddamn United States citizen, and I utilized that fact in my paperwork. But okay, so I believe.
But you gotta remember though. You gotta remember too, Malachi. You gotta remember all the property and all the people were turned over to the United States. That didn't make you a United States citizen. It was just you were turned over to them in trust by your mother because what? You were born during a time of economic depression.
Right.
And
Okay.
the United States would say, since we took all the money out, this is what the remedy came in under the HJR 192. Okay? When you give your Social Security number to create an account, this makes you the creditor of that account because you issued some credit. Okay? If you get into that link that I showed you, it'll show you that you got $3.8 million the day you were born and $3 million every fiscal year after. Okay? And this is all in credit.
Now I'm definitely going to look for that shit. Now, wait. Now what act is that?
Go into the link. Okay, can you go back to the link? I sent you the Social Security Act link.
Okay, it's in that link.
Send it to this right quick. Yeah, it's in your inbox. Okay, and this link right here, it tells you in order for and we have to think consciously when we're reading this. Okay?
Right.
Because if you read it and you're not reading it consciously, it's just gonna go right over your head. You're not gonna understand it. But in order for a state to be a state, they gotta have people, right? Okay? So every time the word state is mentioned, they're talking about you. They're talking about me. They're talking about our children. You see what the title says? It says grants to the states for maternal and child welfare. Welfare ain't always meaning poor. Welfare means for the general welfare of the public. And who creates the public? Consumers. Okay? We create the public, we create the private, we create nationality, and we also create credit. And we also create debt.
I agree.
Okay? So, if you get into section 501, let me just read that for you.
So section 501.
Yep. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay, I'm saying it out loud so so other people can go back. So Section 501 in the Social Security Act.
Yep, Title 5 of the Social Security Act.
Okay.
Section 501 and 502 history.
Gotcha.
Okay, now the Social Security Act is constitutional because of the full faith and credit clause. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Without this number and that name on that number, you will not be able to buy or sell anything. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's dealing with commerce. Okay? Section 501, it says appropriations, maternal and child health services. Okay? In order for the state to function, they have to have these things set up. Okay? Like the hospitals and the Children's Bureau and census and things of that nature. Okay? Mm-hmm. In order for them to get this federal funding that's coming to the state on your behalf. Okay? For the purposes of enabling each state to extend and improve as far as practicable under the conditions in such state services for promoting the health of mothers and children. Why is the health of mothers and children so important? Because they're going to produce energy and labor. Okay, they're going to produce energy and labor that's going to run the economy. Okay?
Yep.
All right. Especially in rural areas and areas suffering from severe economic distress. What is severe economic distress? We're not on the gold standard anymore. We're not on the silver standard anymore. So we're dealing with debit and debt, credit and debits. Credit and debt. That's all we're dealing with. Consumer credit. Okay? So, thereby here be authorized to be appropriated for each fiscal year. I mean, and we know what a fiscal year is, right?
Yep.
Okay. So for each fiscal year, beginning with the fiscal year ending June 30th, 1936, the sum of $3.8 million. The sums made available under this section shall be used for making payments to states. Okay, every time I say the word state, I want you to think about yourself as an E-state.
Gotcha.
As an estate.
Gotcha.
Okay? That's all they did was take the E off of the state and said states.
Gotcha.
Okay? Payments to the state for which has submitted and approved by the Chief of Children Bureau's state plans for such services. This is where you get your welfare from. This is where you get your children's hospitals from. This is where you get your state governments from. All of this is wrapped up into the Social Security Act of 1935. Let's go to allotments to the states. Section 502A. Out of the sums appropriated pursuant to Section 501 for each fiscal year, the Secretary of who? Labor. Don't you create labor?
True.
Yes, we all create labor. Shall allot to each state $20,000 as such part of $1.8 million as he finds the number of what? Live births. Don't you got a live birth certificate?
Sure do.
Exactly. And such states born to the total number of live births in the United States in the latest calendar year for which the Bureau of Census has available statistics. Now, think about this. Don't the census come around every 7 years and count everybody in your house?
Sure do.
What they count?
They trying to yeah, they trying to see how many estates is in it up under this damn roof.
So they counting the money, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was the money, you and I.
That's why I never let them in my crib.
Well, you should.
You say I should?
Yeah, because if they once they count the people in your home, then that's how you know how to go get that funding. Okay, and they're gonna give you something that states that okay, we counted people in your home. Here's the slip that proves that we came by. Okay, now with that slip, you can go claim. You can claim these assets right here. See, this is where your Treasury Direct account is located at right here. A lot of people don't know that. I've been exposing this in the ACH group, and people ain't even taking the time to read the damn thing. There's a few, don't get me wrong, there's a few people that took the time to read this. But I exposed that the Treasury Direct account is right here under the Social Security Act. It's the minor account. Once you take that minor account and add it into the primary account, which is the Treasury Direct account that we know of, through the Treasury, through the Bureau of Fiscal Services, that's when the account is whole now. That's all you got to do is take your Social Security number and start that primary account, which is a Treasury Direct account, online. And that's all you have to do. What funds the account is the Social Security number. Why? Because you're getting that $3.8 million at birth and $3 million every fiscal year after. We're going to get into that in Section B right quick. It says, okay, so because you got to add these numbers up. They got figures up here. They got this 20,000 right here. They got that $1.8 million right there. And then if you're in Section B, they got that $980,000. Is that not Is that not $3 million every fiscal year after? Yes. Okay. And you notice they keep saying the Secretary of Labor. Now, why is the Secretary of Labor so important? Because without labor, the United States can't function. No business, no corporation, no bank, no nothing can function without labor. Okay? So they gave us a credit. Okay? They gave us unlimited credit. That's what your Social Security number is. It's an unlimited credit line. So whenever you establish an account, you are the creditor. You sit as an asset on their books. Like for instance, your bank account. Okay, you are the asset to the bank because you gave what? Consumer credit, your personal information.
Yep.
That's your consumer credit. When the bank gets your consumer credit, they ask you to sign a signature card.
Yep.
Okay? So what they're doing is they got it's called open-end credit. Okay? You got an open credit line, which is an asset to them. So you have assets and then you have liabilities because there's two sides to the account. You got assets, liabilities, accounts receivable, and accounts payable. Okay? They're only letting you tap into one side of the account, and that's the liability side. Because you have a checkings and a savings. Okay? And those are two liabilities. Why? Because you're doing withdrawals and deposits. Okay? That's all liabilities. Okay? But where is the asset side of the account? To the bank that mislead you and make you believe that your assets is the Federal Reserve notes. No, the Federal Reserve notes are liabilities because they're debt. So it goes back to the asset side. Where's the asset side of the account?
Okay.
So I gave you my Social Security number, my unlimited credit line. How come I'm not using my asset side of my account instead of my liability side? Because they want to call themselves the creditor. And they're not. That's false and misleading.
All right, so let me play devil's advocate real quick.
Okay.
All right, so now in order for me to do this, I gotta damn near try to forget everything I know about.
Not necessarily. No.
Well, not. I'm talking about as far as my current, I guess, programming, as far as operating in the private side. It's almost like you're telling me how I can go through the front door, and I understand how to get through the back door. You see what I mean? Like because at the same time, no, I mean that's a fact because still there is no, in certain situations there really is no right or wrong. There's different ways. You know what I'm saying? Because unless what you do on your side is ineffective, that will make it wrong. Unless what I do on my side is ineffective, that will make me wrong. So I can't say, "Oh, okay, he's right, I'm wrong." No, but I need to. But you're trained. Can't nobody tell you about going through that front door because you've seen it, you've tasted it, and you owned it. Can't nobody tell me about the back door. All you can give me is new light and let me know like it's another door open in the front or the side, and I'm down for that. I'm down for that.
That's right.
I want to go in all the doors. So, why not? So okay, so going back, so that's what I'm talking about as far as me trying to reprogram myself to just look at it in another aspect and forgetting what I know. Sometimes you got to forget what you know because people stand on what they know and they're not able to receive new information.
That's true. That's very true.
So
Yep.
I'm going back again. I was taking notes while you was talking, and so all right. Okay, so the person is born. The person is born,
Right.
and then they receive this first document. This first document,
That's correct.
which is a bond and a contract to create a corporation and a trust. Now,
That's true.
now, it's a fact on no matter what part of the game we playing that registrar date is the date that corporation was born and that trust was created.
Well, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna call it a corporation. Let's call it chattel.
Okay, that's cool.
Let's call it chattel because you can't look your birth certificate up on Dun and Bradstreet.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, just like you said earlier about we got to think of it like metaphysically or another aspect. I'm talking not literally, but in a literal aspect of what a corporation is and what a trust is, because we all agree that we're dealing with corporations and trusts, and we're saying that once the trust was established in our name, obviously we're not the beneficiaries starting off,
Well, yes, you are.
but we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be.
Well, yeah, but see, that's why. Okay, see, that's why the consumer protection laws are so important because the FTC, the CFPB, these two government entities, the United States Treasury, they know that we have unlimited credit lines in our names. Okay, this is the only way you can establish an account is by giving away your personal information, which is your name, your social security number, and your signature. Okay, and your date of birth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Your date of birth is wrapped up into that too, because this identifies what? The trust. Okay, but on a commercial standpoint, but how do you identify the trust in a natural standpoint? All you got to do is go take a look in the mirror.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's how you identify the trust, your weight, your height at this current time. You are worth your weight in gold. See, a lot of people don't understand that the gold is in your birth certificate. The gold that everybody is searching for is in your birth certificate.
All of those attributes that you named, the height, the weight, and all that stuff is where do they put that the chartered property in the depositories?
That's on your birth certificate. The registrar, right? Because he assesses the property. Okay. Now the property goes into escheat. Okay, escheat, ESCHEAT, escheat. It goes into escheat, and if it's not claimed, it's deemed to be abandoned.
Gotcha. Exactly. Which is why we need to go through administrative processes to reclaim and redeem.
There you go. You own it now. Okay. Now, the only person that has this property under their thumb is the alien property custodian. Okay. The alien property custodian office was turned into the Attorney General. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, why was the alien property custodian turned over to the Attorney General? Because we are still under military rule, Admiralty and Maritime.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, the United States Attorney General's office is the one responsible for our whole estate. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is why his ass is under fire, because it's been a lot of property that has been abused, and they're not supposed to abuse your property until while it's under receivership or under trust. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When you turned 18, they were supposed to turn your trust back over to you, because at 18 we all signed up for selective services. Once you signed up for selective services, that was that form that says, yes, I'm alive.
But we never claimed that. We never declared that we was alive. So therefore, like you said, it's unclaimed.
Yes, you did. No, you claimed that that you were alive because when you turned 18, you had to sign a form stating that you were under selective services. That selective services form is this declaration of what? Life. And then you also got the proof of life, which is the birth certificate. Okay? So when that selective services form got filled out, the United States was supposed to turn your trust over to you, and they didn't.
That's my thing.
Okay, so
that's my only thing.
So this is why. See, we didn't know that at this time. When we were 18, we didn't know what the hell was going on. We were signing documents saying that we were United States citizens.
You're right.
Okay, but yet and still, they still were supposed to turn your property over to you. Okay, the state was supposed to do it, and the federal government was supposed to do it.
I agree.
But we got a bar association that's so damn corrupt, and the members of the bar association has been using your shit all these years. Okay, so how do we fix this problem? Well, we go back through the proper channels administratively, through the alien property custodian, which is the Attorney General's office, on the state level and on the federal level. Okay? See, because we can burn the Attorney General's office because he cannot say that he is not receiving federal funding in your name every fiscal year. He cannot say that. He wouldn't dare testify and say he's not receiving that. Because all we got to do in the federal court, who do we subpoena? The Social Security Administration. And we asked them, are you not sending federal funds to the state on the behalf of this birth certificate? They have to say yes. They have to say yes. Because that's what established the trust account with the Social Security Administration.
I agree. I agree 100%. I have one big issue. My issue is that it's because from the day we was born into contract, and every year and throughout our whole.
Say that.
Mm-hmm. Why not?
Don't say that because you didn't sign that contract. Your mother did.
No, not a fact. Not a fact. Not a fact.
Technically, your name is not your name. That's your mama's name. Okay, and you just consented to using the name. Okay,
well,
and the number.
that's true.
Your signature.
That's true. That's true. But this is the thing when we're dealing with contracts. A contract and an agreement is between one or more, two or more parties. So we have this contract, and it's presented that we didn't create this. Our mother didn't create it, the father or the baby. It was presented to us in the hospital, and it was created by the state of the government. Now. So we have whatever that contract entails, whatever's within the fine print of that contract, and attached to those numbers on that contract, because they only gave us half of the contract, probably the first page of that birth certificate of live birth is the first page, and those identification numbers are tied to the other parts of the contract and the account, which is tied to the accounts. So based on the logic of contracting. Technically speaking, once they presented that contract for that partial contract for us to sign, and that makes it fraud too, for the simple fact that we had the full understanding or disclosure of the terms and conditions within the contract. So.
But let me ask you this though, before you say that, can you honestly say that the Social Security Act, which is a law that was passed 2/3 House, 2/3 Senate, was not created?
Wait, what you say?
Can you say that the Social Security Act was not created? Can you say that the Alien Registration Act of 1940 wasn't created?
Absolutely not.
These things were
absolutely not.
Right. So ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, but the ignorance came in when they said, okay, sign this for your child's birth certificate, sign this for your child's social security number. The people who had us signing those documents didn't even know.
They don't. They just the gatekeepers
all they knew is they were going to get a percentage off of each one of those contracts that they signed in that hospital. See, the hospital gets a percentage too. But see, don't nobody ever think to go do a change of an address form from the records of vital statistics or that hospital that they were born in.
What you mean? To the hospital you was born at?
From the hospital that you were born in. Okay, so I was born in Detroit Memorial. If I did I just did this last week. I did a change of address form for my name from Detroit Memorial, which is still standing on in Detroit, to my P.O. box now. And I'm waiting for something to come in the P.O. box to see what's actually, what's coming in my name at that hospital. And also, I got to go do the one for the records of vital statistics, which is in Lansing, which is the headquarters of the vital statistics, and do a change of an address form from there to my P.O. box too.
Okay, one second. Okay, so okay, that's something I've already done too. Now, I want to ask you this, because that address is important. That zip code concept is important. That's another form of jurisdiction. Now, why did you? Okay, so okay, all right. So when we talk about changes of addresses, the first thing average people think of is what's on their driver's licenses and stuff like that, and basically on the outskirts of things. So what you're saying is, or are you trying to say that you have to do change the address within the records of the vital statistics?
No, the physical address. Okay, because if you think about it, who creates that birth certificate physically?
They do.
The records of vital statistics. Okay. So they have your name listed under that address.
Up under the address from the hospital you was born.
The hospital you were born and the records of vital statistics.
Right. So they both have the address you was born, because
That's correct.
Okay, cool. So I'm agreeing with you. So look, so that's funny to me, because in my perception of it, I knew that as well, but I didn't not in all degrees. I knew that I was born, and I died by way of corpse incorporation the day that registrar signed that birth certificate, and it was signed over and
but
created.
That's not true. Mm-hmm. That's not true, because that registrar can't never say that you are dead until the coroner assesses your body and says you're dead.
Facts, but
nobody said that you're dead until you get a death certificate.
Absolutely. In the corporate world, though, in the commercial world, as far as how they trade that particular stock, technically speaking, you can be within a corpse. Metaphysically speaking, you're a corpse, and they operating, they're controlling the corpse, and we up under the impression, the assumption that corpse is us. That corporate. If you start a corporation today with your exact same name, are you that piece of paper? You're not that piece of paper.
I created that piece of paper. That's right.
The difference between that is the fact that you actually created it. We didn't create that corporate title. They did. We just accepted and agreed to the.
In a way you did because you had a natural birth. Okay, without you having a natural birth, that name could not exist, that birth certificate cannot exist, and social security number cannot exist. So in a way you did create the birth certificate, because you had to have a natural birth in order to create for that birth certificate.
Was definitely a part of the creation process, and that's why I said that we did sign. Everybody consented unconsciously, consented to the terms and conditions of that contract, because once that certificate of live birth was presented to our parents, our father signed, our mother signed, and the baby signed by way of footprint.
Yes, you're right. Because the footprints went on bond paper.
Absolutely.
Okay. And your mother got a copy of that, but she didn't get the original. Mm-hmm. The original, from what I've heard, and I don't know if it's true or not because I haven't done my research, is sitting in the basement of the Vatican.
Yeah, I believe that.
Okay. from what I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how true that is because of what are they saying? How the Vatican owns all the souls on the earth, supposedly, by those footprints, and all the property has been registered, and there's only one piece of property that has never been registered in all the world, and that's Camelot. That's the only property that has never been registered. Okay, that's another story for another debate.
Yeah.
But Camelot is the only piece of property, Knights of King Arthur and all that. That's the only property that has never been registered because they can never get the title to that property because it's hidden. But you, ain't nobody say they own your kids, but you, because that's your flesh and blood property. And what proves that? DNA.
Yeah.
DNA. So when they saying that the county says that your kids are not yours, they're lying because the county is not an agency of the state first and foremost. So that's false and misleading practices. And the state dare not say you don't own your kids because they will be responsible for the child support. They will be responsible for the maintenance. They'll be responsible for feeding the child, which they are because we have a contractual agreement with the state. Do you not?
Definitely do.
Okay, so we hold the state liable. This is why I was showing people how to go through the Attorney General's office with that birth certificate and signing the back of that birth certificate and putting their Social Security numbers down there and getting houses and cars. I got a few people that did it, and they got some negative responses back. But I told them because in order for you to claim that property, you're gonna have to go to the Court of Claims and claim that and hold the Attorney General responsible. See, they don't think we're going to take them into a court and pursue what we want.
Definitely don't.
And that's what I say. I'm not afraid to go in none of these courts because I can expose their hand and I can show them that I'm the creditor. You know what I mean? Because we were born the secure party creditor. As you can see, you got security, which is Social Security, in your name. Okay, this makes you exempt from paying for anything. This makes you exempt from any charges, criminal charges. So a lot of people don't know that. Social Security Act makes you exempt from a lot of stuff, man. So does the Consumer Protection Laws.
It's like they have to give remedy for everything. They have to present. They have to tell us. They have to give us the option, to consent, deny, and et cetera, et cetera. But are they going to tell us how to? Are they going to tell? Of course not. And a lot of the stuff is right there in front of our faces. But we've been programmed not to see.
That's true. Oh yeah, they did a great job of dumbing us down.
Excellent job.
But see, the Great Awakening is is happening. It is occurring right before our face. Okay, evening the playing field. Okay, this is why I was trying to show people how to do the tort claim process against Equifax because your personal information was breached. And people got your Social Security number, got your date of birth, got your name, got your address, got all your shit sitting on a desk waiting to be used. And these are hackers. So, if this is going to affect me for the rest of my life, then I need compensation for the rest of my life.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? So, this is why we was doing this into the Department of Justice, which is the alien property custodian. They're going to have to adjust those claims or give us consent to sue Equifax. Because Equifax keep running and saying, we're government, and the government said we can do this. Okay, well, wait a minute. How come your website says .com? If you're government affiliated, it would have said .gov or .org.
Yeah.
You're not either one of them. You're
I mean,
a private for-profit corporation.
even if they shit did say .gov and .org, because me and you can go and create a .gov and .org domain right now. That don't mean shit. You know what I'm saying? The thing is, the biggest debate we have with them, or the fact that they can't prove that we have a contract to saying that we can send it to them fucking sharing our information or managing our information.
Or even having it. That's correct.
Yeah.
And that's where they're having a hard time. That's where they're having a hard time dealing with that. So, because I got people who had got responses back from that Equifax tort claim, and Equifax said that they was not going to pay that claim out, or they were not at liberty to compensate, them for their injuries, but they can, they can't stop them from suing them. Okay, and I got to get my consumers to understand the verbiage of what they're saying. Okay, so they're saying they're not going to pay you for your injuries. Go ahead and sue them. Mm-hmm. Okay, so go ahead and sue these dumb motherfuckers.
Exactly.
But I'm telling you to wait till you hear back from the Attorney General, because the Attorney General, when you do that SS-95 form, that's a claim for injury and damage. When you do that form, then the Attorney General is going to look and say, okay, either we're going to pay this claim out, or we're going to give them the consent. We're going to say under the Federal Tort Claims Act, your claim is not compensable, but by law you can go sue. Okay, so once we get the United States to throw them under the bus and say we can go sue them, then that's when we have the United States backing us up.
Yeah.
For our injury and damage. So Equifax is caught between a rock and a hard place now. Because you got the government saying you're not government, and we didn't authorize you to do that because they would be in violation of the Privacy Act of 1974. Mm-hmm. Right or wrong?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, so this is why I have people do that, to put Equifax in this position. And not only I have, you know how many people in the ACA's group? It's almost 20,000 people that sent that tort claim in, man.
Damn.
So they damn sure gotta do something about it. They damn sure got to do something about it, because every attorney general from each state filed a class action lawsuit against Equifax. And guess whose verbiage they used? They used our verbiage on those tort claims.
So they know what's up.
They sure the hell did. Mm-hmm. So Equifax is caught between a rock and a hard place. Now, if Equifax got to settle those claims, then those people with those $100 million claims, they can either say, okay, I'm not going to settle for less than $50 million. Equifax has to pay that claim out, because they will not be able to go into a federal court and stand up and say,
they can't.
Oh, we have a contractual agreement with these people.
They can't.
No. Provided, I need you to produce it.
Just like insurance companies, they can never and they will never. So they always will pay out. They always will pay out, and they definitely can't afford things to go publicly.
Exactly.
Now,
and then if we got to go to court, we're going to demand a jury trial. We're not going to sit back and let no corrupt ass judge bring Equifax out of this claim. No, we want a jury.
Exactly.
And every member of that jury is going to be one of those affected by Equifax. So, however they want to do it, our claims are still going to get paid out.
I want to go back to one thing that we actually got to finish up when we started on Facebook was and I'm kind of pissed off because my damn recorder shut off and shit. So before we get up, we'll just recap some stuff. But I want to go back to so remember we started off, we were talking on Facebook about consumer versus secure party.
Yeah. Yes.
Let's go back there.
Okay.
Now I can tell you my opinion first. Now as far as consumer, it don't rub me too right. That word don't rub me too right. Consumer.
The definition of consumer is a natural person.
Okay, so that goes back to the aspect of words having multiple meanings to them, legal meanings and Webster's dictionary meanings. Now,
what would be Congress defined the word consumer as. See, when we're dealing with laws, we always have to understand what Congress said. Okay, because Congress has already defined the meaning in terms of word, like the word firearm. Okay, in layman terms, we would think that's a pistol or a handgun. But legally defined by Congress, okay, a firearm is a 12-gauge shotgun sawed off, anything with a barrel of 18 inches or less. Okay? A shotgun sawed off. That's what a firearm is. It's not a handgun or a pistol.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when Congress defined consumer to be a natural person, this made the consumer top of the food chain. Because without the consumer, you don't have a secure party. Or you don't have a nationality. Without a consumer, the one who is producing, buying, selling, trading, without that consumer, you can't have none of the above.
So where is it that we can find that a consumer is actually the producer and creditor?
Okay, well, let's use. I'm gonna show you in the laws, but let's use common sense first and foremost. Without a natural person, can you have a bank?
Absolutely. You say what? You say what? You say without a natural person?
Right. Without a natural person, can you have anything?
Oh no, of course not.
Okay. So when I say consumer has been defined as a natural person, I'm going to show you in the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act where it has the consumer defined as a natural person.
Okay.
See, a secure party creditor can be a bank. A secure party creditor can be a business. A secure party creditor can be a corporation.
True.
But you can't have none of those things without consumers. You can't have a secure party creditor without a natural person, can you?
No, you can't skip that.
So that's going back to the natural side of things now. Because without people, you don't have diddly squat. And this is how the consumer is the creditor, because the consumer can create an account which creates a debt. If you're creating a debt, that makes you the creditor, right?
So since the consumer creates the debt, that will make him the producer and the creditor.
That's correct, yes. Yes. Because it takes the consumer to give his energy and labor to produce the goods and services.
So, in my world, it's only two people as far as operating in commerce. It's a debtor and a creditor.
A debtor and a creditor.
That's it.
Now, GM Ford Chrysler, are they creditors or debtors?
Both.
Nope. They can only be one.
You say,
Okay, let's take all the natural people out of GM, Ford, and Chrysler. Are they creditors or debtors?
without the natural people?
Right.
Well, they're nothing without the natural people.
Well, they debtors because they need the natural people to what? Come in and produce goods and provide
operate.
services.
Yeah,
right?
to operate. Yep.
Okay. Right. So they're debtors because Chrysler needs you to come on their car lot to buy a car. Your intellectual property, which is your thought, is the one that takes you down to Chrysler and says, okay, I'm going to buy a car. And Chrysler's like, oh, okay, well, we're going to sell you this automobile. Now, at that point right there, is Chrysler the creditor or the debtor?
See, it all depends. See, it's like we're fighting. It's the debate of technicalities and contracts.
But it's only one thing. It's either creditors or debtors. Okay, so without natural people buying cars, can Chrysler sell a car?
No, they can't.
So they're debtors. Because they need what? They need your signature. They need you to come down there to the car lot, survey a car, and then millionaire needs you to buy the car.
But because of the ignorance of the person, though, if the individual, if the natural flesh and blood person doesn't know this, they're gonna waive their rights and powers of creditorship.
Well, not necessarily, because once that signature hits that contract, what does Chrysler do with that contract? They sell it to the Federal Reserve as collateral.
Yeah, because
the Federal Reserve.
if we go to the line,
so that makes.
yeah, we still talking technicalities and then versus the reality of what's going on in the world, because
No, that's what the reality is. Without your signature on a contract, nothing.
No. That's 100% fact. I'm talking about the aspect of a person. Like, let's say if somebody, like, when somebody listens to this call, they're gonna say like, shit, we could just go and we're the creditors and we're gonna. But if they don't know if they don't understand that they're still operating as a debtor, you see what I mean? They're not gonna accomplish nothing. They're not gonna accomplish anything, because we can truly, factually be the creditors all day, which we are, because the second we go to a car lot and we say, hey, I want that car, and even being a creditor, you still have to, a debt has to be created before you can credit it. You see what I mean? So technically speaking, in certain aspects, we are the creditor, but we still have to operate in debtorship in some type of form of fashion, and to create the debt.
You know why? Because we choose to use paper currency called Federal Reserve notes.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of using our signatures.
Even with no money down.
Making these people, because see, that's where the fraud comes in there when they tell you got to put some money down. No, you don't. There is no money. What do you mean?
There is no money.
What are you talking about?
So let's say.
Show me, what money are you talking about? Are you talking about these green pieces of paper, or are you talking about this gold rock right here?
Right.
Which one are you talking about?
They can't. But it's like okay, let's say we deal in the aspect where, okay, the person doesn't put any money down. You know what I'm saying? So technically speaking, all they're doing is signing. So the one understanding that everybody needs to understand is the fact that that our signature produces the credit for that particular transaction. Now the thing is,
along with your social,
they need all that. Yep. Now, but true enough, the social is attached to an account and is the identification number, but it's also used as a tracking device for the United States government to track us down. Which is why they know when you open up a new bank account. They know when you get a new job. They know when you got a new raise. They know all this stuff because that's the number that they gave us. So instead of using that number, we can also use another 9-digit number in order to operate in commerce. That would be private. Without the liability and all the extra shit that comes with the social. But this is my point. The point is that a lot of people don't get that. I already know you get this point. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't understand that no matter what how much that vehicle is worth on the car lot, if it's $50,000, the second we sign that promissory note, which is a negotiable instrument. Well, second we sign that agreement, which is a promissory note in which we agreeing. See, it's like the car dealerships and they're middleman in the situation. They're middleman in that transaction on our behalf. So they're putting another agreement in the middle of the whole transaction, stating that, okay, because they know once we agree to purchase that car for $50,000, they know that promissory note is now has a value of $50,000, in which they can use and for their financial benefits to gain interest on that $50,000 and trade on it as many times as they want to. And then on top of that, we're gonna turn around and use our blood, sweat, and tears and labor to still pay back the $50,000.
Well, yeah. See, that's where false and misleading practices under the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act comes in at. Okay, long as you got my signature on that promissory note, 15 USC 1692A5 comes into effect. Okay, when you go read 1692A5, it tells you the term of debt. Okay, as long as you're the creator of that debt, you are the creditor. So you cannot charge me anything because I can take you into a federal court and I can knock the sparks off. Or I can call my attorney general's office and let him know that you're engaging in deceptive business practices. Okay, the state attorney general knows there's no money. He knows everything is based off your federally funded credit line. He knows that. So he can't turn a blind eye to it because of the Public Law 73-10 and House Joint Resolution 192. All debt has to be discharged dollar for dollar. So when they run that, when they tell you, okay, well we're gonna run your credit, man, when they run your credit, they taking the whole amount for the car right then and there.
That's fucked up.
I got proof of evidence of that.
So you say
taking the money right then and there. They're taking the credit right then and there.
So you say when they run your shit, they taking the money right there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Damn.
sir. See now, like for instance, say you go to a cell phone store and they have a financing option. Okay. You sign up everything, they run your credit, they get the money off. Okay, so they have you sign the contract or whatever. Now, you get the phone, you get the service and everything. Within 3 days, if you rescind the signature on that contract, you get to keep the goods and you get to keep the service.
Okay, that was a jewel. Run that back.
And all contracting, when it's dealing with finances, okay, when it's dealing with promissory notes, when it's dealing with loan contracts, they have a clause in those contracts that says within 72 hours, you can rescind your signature on this contract. And you can keep the goods and keep the service. So in that 72 hours, all you do is rescind the contract and say, okay, I need my title to my car, I need my house, I need the title to my house, because they had already got the money for the house when they ran the credit.
The 72 hours of power. Now, that my friend is very clever. I'm liking that. I'm liking that.
And that's the same thing if you were in jail. If you don't sign nothing, if you don't say nothing,
absolutely.
If you wait them out for 72 hours, they gotta let
they got you. Even still, if they don't, the thing is, anytime it's an open bond available, you can go and accept that bond for value. That bond is the insurance. It is the bond amount to release you. That is the money to release you. Literally.
It's already there.
That's what it's for.
They got people, but see, when they holding you, okay, and you're not in the knowing, you know what I'm saying, you won't know to do that because you'll have to go to a judge in order to do that.
Or you have to give power of attorney of somebody to put that name on that bond.
That's true. But when you're locked up and you only get one phone call, that one phone call will be a bad one.
Yeah, you're right.
But that's just. But see, this is why I say don't sign nothing, don't say nothing. Just wait their ass out 72 hours. What they go do? All they go do is try to come force you to sign something.
Yeah, that's it. They can't do anything without our consent. They can't do anything without our consent.
Exactly.
And we can't avoid life without signing anything. Which is why I tell people all the time: look here. When in doubt, always reserve your rights within that contract next to your signature. And that's when I bring the UCC in. You know what I'm saying? Because that's something I know for a fact holds weight on reserving your rights. But it don't matter what's in the contract, because if shit have to go back, hit the fan, got to go to court, you have tangible proof and evidence right next to the signature that they want to use against you in court, saying that you consented to some shit, saying that you reserved your rights for anything, any clause and terms and conditions within the contract that was not disclosed or I did not understand.
That's the only UCC that I would ever use in my UCC
1-308.
without prejudice.
Yes.
So that's the only thing I would use out of the damn UCC.
To be honest with you, shit. Hey, to be honest with you, that's all the fuck I use. Shit, I mean, that is the sauce right there. All the other, it's other codes that have some little spunk to it, but ultimately that is the secret weapon right there as far as reservation of rights.
On any contract.
Any contract. Because it's all everything. All that shit is dealing with commercial contracting. Everything is. Everything is.
Right. Yeah. But see, what we have to understand is when they took the gold and the silver off the street, that null and voided all contracts. They put an end to commerce back in 1970 when they created the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, when they created the Truth in Lending Act and the Fair Credit Reporting Act. They put it into commerce. Okay? We just not catching up to this shit. But this shit happened back in the 70s.
These motherfuckers, just like you said earlier, literally, you know what? Sometimes it's hard to, sometimes it's hard for people to understand the whole concept of history repeats itself because for the simple fact that we haven't lived in history, you know what I'm saying? But in all actuality, we are reliving the exact same shit. So, like, literally right now, if we look back into the history, just like we talking about, like we go back to 1933, the redemption movement. If we Google the redemption movement in 1933, when they confiscated all the gold and silver from the American people in exchange for exactly, and made all the people chattel property. Of the states. You see what I mean? It started right then and there. The history is repeating itself right now. We have proof of this, and not just because I said it or you said it, because what do we think is going on when we go to the local grocery store and pawn shops and shit like that, when they say we got them signs on the window saying we buy gold? Why is everybody buying gold? What about the company that was advertising nationwide about we buy your gold? They were sending you the packages in the mail. They was paying for the packages for you to put your gold, all your scrap gold, in the envelopes and send it back. And you know what I'm saying? People are exchanging their gold for this monopoly money. The shit is not backed by anything. So right now, we are in a worse condition than before. In the beginning, they forcefully confiscated it. Now we voluntarily giving away our shit.
Giving it away, yep. And then the gold they got us playing with ain't even real gold.
Man, that's fucked up.
24 karat,
yeah.
24 karat, 14 karat, 10 karat, that shit is not real gold, man.
Man,
I'm sorry, it's not. Real gold is 999.9 troy ounce.
Absolutely.
That's real.
That is, as well as silver.
You can't weigh a carat.
As well as silver.
Carat is not. You can't weigh a carat.
Yep.
A carat don't have no damn weight.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
A troy ounce, that's some shit that you gotta weigh.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So when I see that 24, that's why I don't even wear that shit no more, man. I don't even wear it because I know what's real now.
We gotta buy back the gold.
24 karat, that shit don't even look like nothing even remotely close to real.
You say remote? You say that shit don't even look remotely close to gold.
Nowhere near it. No.
It's the same. It's the same thing with the silver, but silver has more value and weight to it than people think. See, silver was the currency back in the day. See, and it's not just like we buy the new silver right now. True. We could buy the troy ounces, but the most significant silver to buy is the pre-1933 Morgan coins.
Morgan, yep.
Yep.
The Tontos.
Mm-hmm.
You ever seen the updated version of the Long Ranger?
Nah, this a new updated version.
You need to go watch the updated version of the Long Ranger, man. They dropping jewels in that motherfucker, and in that new Abe Lincoln. You ever seen that movie Lincoln, 2012 version of Lincoln? I'm gonna advise you and all of our listeners that's listening to this right now to go watch those two movies.
All right.
The Long Ranger, the updated version of the Long Ranger, and the updated version of the movie Lincoln.
So which one you think we should watch? Which one you think they should watch first?
Hey, shit, they can watch either one of them first because they're based around the same time for real.
Okay.
Well, it was like because when Tonto, I don't want to expose the movie, but in Lincoln, it was around the 1800 area, the mid 1800 area, and then that's when Tonto and the Lone Ranger was around in the Wild Wild West days, and when they was on the gold rush and the silver rush and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I advise your listeners to go pay attention to that, man, because they dropping jewels in there. They is dropping some real serious jewels in there.
Hey, did you know that? Did you know with 21 ounces of pre-1933 Morgan silver, we can produce our own silver bullion bonds to discharge debts against?
Really? Wait! You lost me on that one.
Yeah, I mean that was the whole point. I added that to the HailRazor legacy. I don't think people caught on. You know, a lot of people think people do shit and thinking they're looking just to gain monetary value from the people of it. Everything I do is tied into some type of concept that I'm on. You know what I'm saying? That's tied into what we're trying to do, what this is all about. You know what I'm saying? So when I was talking about the Bitcoin shit, all that shit tied into flipping the Federal Reserve monopoly notes into the Bitcoin to gain interest. Once we gain this, if I give you a $10 monopoly note, I put that into my Bitcoin bank account, which that's what it is. It's a live stock bank account, which is gonna gain more interest than any bank alive. You know what I'm saying? Quicker than any bank. Once that. I put that $10 to my Bitcoin bank account. Wait till it at least makes $10. Now I have actually earned $10. Now I'll take that. I'll keep that $10 in there that you gave me to continue to gain interest, and I'll take the other 10 or whatever to invest in a piece of silver. Just hypothetically speaking, but realistically speaking. So the point is to start making ways to easily start converting these so-called currencies over to real gold and silver again, because that is the true foundation of the nation's wealth. And if anything hits the fan, that will be our survival net at the end of the day of redemption. You know what I'm saying? And we always everybody's talking about discharging debt and the birth bond, using the birth bond to discharge debt and shit like that. Honestly speaking, hey, look, that shit, a lot of that shit is a myth, or the shit don't work no more. You know what I'm saying? Now,
discharging debt is a myth, period. You know why? Because think about something. When you discharge something, let's think about sex. When you discharge off into a female, okay, what happens?
That shit dies. I mean, that shit.
Well, no. Think about it in natural terms. When you discharge and discharge your semen into a woman, she gets impregnated.
Right. It actually grows. Yeah.
Okay. Exactly. Okay. So now, when you start an account, the account is discharged at the moment you created the account. Why? Because you had to give something. You have to give your personal information. That opened the account wide open. Because you gave an unlimited credit line, which is your social security number, and your personal information. Okay, that's your consumer credit. Mm-hmm. So you discharge the account immediately. Everything else after that is false and misleading.
Okay.
That's why I be tearing their ass up with the FDCPA, man, and they be having a hard time fighting.
Oh, is that the okay, so is that the same? That's the same insurance company that comes with the banks, right?
Well, yeah, all the banks are insured by the FDIC.
Right, exactly.
Even the credit unions. See, the credit unions, as long as they're using Federal Reserve notes, they are affiliated with the FDIC.
FDIC. Check this out. Now, based on that, to add on to that right there, check this out. Now, the banking institutions, any form of it is backed by the FDIC, right? So this is the thing.
Correct.
That's the bank's insurance policy to ensure the funds are held at that bank, right?
Right.
But this is what people don't realize. That insurance is not just for that bank. That insurance policy, we all are beneficiaries of that insurance policy. We all are shareholders of that policy.
Yeah, you know why? Because where your birth certificate sitting at? It's the FDIC.
Exactly. And on top of that, we are the motherfuckers that's actually insuring the bank by putting our money in the motherfucker.
Thank you. Like, well, think about it. What did you gave them an insurance policy? You gave them a social security number.
On top of it.
See, that's the insurance. That's the insurance policy right there.
And that shit never dies.
Social. Right. I don't care what kind of account you start. You can never close
that fucking account. It don't look that bank will let your shit go in a negative 3,000, and you will be like, logically speaking, if you get into a jam in the bank and you constantly getting overdrafts and all this other shit, and you're not gonna be able to pay it in time to stop it or to bring it back to the balance up to zero, you're gonna try to like, hey, can I close or freeze this account? They're gonna be like, sorry, sir, we can't. The only way is until you bring the account back to zero, and then we can close the account. You're like, motherfucker, if I had the money to bring it back to zero, I wouldn't be asking you to freeze it or close it.
Yeah, but see, negative ain't always a bad thing.
No.
Because you remember now, when you negative on your account,
go ahead and say it.
Somebody owed you some money.
Go ahead and say it.
Because whose name is on the account? Yours. So that's your account. That account don't belong to the bank.
The second.
Now, that account sits as an asset to the bank.
Absolutely.
Okay? Right? So you are the asset to the bank. Okay? So when you're negative, that means the bank was supposed to put that $3,000 in there off your asset account.
You want to know what's funny? The funny thing about it is that that statement is proven true because anybody that's had a bank account that is went into the negatives and they cannot afford to actually physically put it back into the positives, and they just let it linger. That bank, if you go back and check in that account, and some people still get that account statements back from so-called closed accounts, and it'll have a zero balance to it. Because they have to credit that account. They could have credited it in the beginning. They wanted to wait to see if you was gonna do it. If you was gonna put your blood, sweat, and tears into it. Because the thing about it is, since the account can never be closed, it's like this. Once an account is from zero and you start adding the Federal Reserve shits to it or whatever. Matter of fact, it's no such thing as even adding Federal Reserve or anything into the account. They using that money for some other shit. All that shit is fucking zeros and ones that they putting in as computerized. It's not no actual money going in there. They doing some whole other shit with that shit.
It's called double entry of accounting. Double entry of accounting. That's all they're doing. Double entry of accounting.
Sick.
Okay. And this is how we catch them, because if you get into the FAS 140 manual, okay, and you do a forensic audit on your account using that 4490 form, they ass in trouble. Because somebody ain't paying their taxes the right way.
Exactly, because they have to pay a tax. They're supposed to pay a tax on every deposit.
Thank you.
Now, okay, so you say FAS.
Yep, FAS 140. Let's go look at that right quick. I want to show you something.
Okay.
This is an accounting manual. FAS 140. Okay. Now, financial accounting standards. Okay? That's what FAS stands for.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? This is a good manual to have, man. I got it already downloaded down. I'm on 3% too. Shit.
Yeah.
So I may cut out here in a minute, but if you open up that and if you get off into the studies of this would actually tell you, okay, how they are supposed to do their accounting properly. Ain't no bank using the generally accepted accounting principles. No bank is using those. Okay, that's false and misleading right there alone.
Okay.
Because you can go to the comptroller of currency and you can file a complaint against that bank. Because once the moment you let that comptroller know, look, they got my social security number, which is my unlimited credit line, that comptroller is going to get in that bank's ass unless that comptroller is corrupt. Then you will have to go above that comptroller's head and go into the attorney general's office and make him tell that comptroller, look, y'all better get that shit together.
Okay. So download form, the FAS form, manual, and also download form 4490.
Yep, 4490. This is how you do a forensic audit on a court case. This is how you do a forensic audit on any account that you have. See, when we was doing those ACH payments, okay? Those ACH payments, okay, people gotta understand when they did the ACH payments and they reversed within a week, that means that they already took the money and then they manually reversed it. Okay? And I caught Duke Energy red-handed doing this. I got it on recording. I gotta find it because I wanted to post it on the book so people can hear it. Duke Energy told me that when I used the ACH payments to pay off some people's gas and electric bill, they said that that the account had not been used. Okay? So I was like, wait a minute. Okay, now this is a business account, and how do I need to walk through that code on my account because I never authorized nobody to put that code onto my account. Now, if they removed it, I don't know because they never got back with me. But they're manually reversing those ACH payments. The ACH payment works. It works. Okay, you just got to know how to defend it when they try to come back with some bullshit talking about reversal. Okay, well, you said it reversed. Let me send you this 4490 form, and you show me your books. You can't, they don't never want to show you their books. Why? Because you sit as an asset on their books. As long as you are the asset to the gas and electric company, you are the creditor. They're not supposed to be charging you because you're not the debtor. They are. Okay. So they're supposed to discharge it dollar for dollar. Okay. So every gas and electric bill that you got is in fact a dividend. Okay? And if you look at the coupon portion, there's a routing number on the bottom of the coupon.
Sure is.
Okay, shit. If you knew what you was doing, you could deposit that shit in your bank account because that's your share of the natural resources.
It sure is. It's the account number is your account number, and the route number is at the bottom. They give you the money. They give you the check to pay for the goddamn bill. I know. Yeah, I know that for a fact. They give it to you. They have to give you remedy.
Okay, so this is why I had some of my people go to the utility commission and file a complaint. And we use that notice and warning that Rod Class had formulated, and because I'm a part of his research team. And I got to show evidence to that because I told my guy that I was going to show him some evidence of that. But I got the gas and electric company in Iowa, okay, to send me a credit for my gas and electric services by using that notice of warning to every and all utility. And I sent it into the utility commission in Iowa, and they had to credit the account. Because it was me that started the account by using my personal information and my consumer credit.
So you sent a notice of warning.
Yeah, notice of warning to every and all utility companies. You can Google that, and the letter will pop up. But see, every institution, everybody that's accepting Federal Reserve notes, you might as well consider them to be a bank or a financial institution. Okay. Because why? They got an EIN number, which is owned by the government, okay? And what they're using is that SSA 445 form to say that they are the payees to tap into the account.
Okay.
Okay, and who put me up on that one was Eon. Eon put me up on that. Okay, because when he exposed that SSA 445 form, I'm like, damn, I'm looking at this form. I'm like, payee.
Yeah.
This means that I'm about to be somebody's payee. No, they were using it to say that they are the payees.
Yeah.
And this is how much we owe them.
So what
to
you
be the payee.
what you think about the whole? I seen him do some shit where he took it was some shit that he just did on child support, and this nigga took the form and amended it. His like based on him just changing the shit up and adding his own shit to it, changing shit around and all type of stuff. And that was supposed to be the payment. He used that tailored it to be the payment for the child support, and he put the instructions at the bottom and everything. I'm like, so I hurry up and download the video because he said the shit kept getting deleted or whatever, and I don't know. That kind of threw me. That kind of threw me because I was actually in the middle of putting the package together for child support, and then he dropped that video. I'm like okay.
Okay, yeah. So child support generally is county ran. Okay. Now the county is not an agency of the state. Okay, so they don't really have the lawful authority to come after you for child support.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So, how do we combat that? Is we go back and we do an administrative hearing or a state hearing, and we show how our child's birth certificate, created federal funding for the state to utilize. So now, that's a conflict of interest. Because if the state is receiving federal funding for my child's birth certificate, you can't come after me for child support because me and the state got a contract. Here's the birth certificate to prove the contract. Now the state is responsible for all the child's affairs. So the state is responsible for paying the child support. The moment you get that into the Attorney General's office, he's going to let that child support enforcement agency know, y'all got to back down. You can't come after this guy for child support.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hey, I wanted to go back to hello? Oh shit. Alright y'all, just lost Meechie. This gonna be part 2 of 3 when we continue this. But the thing is that we had a part 1, the damn recorder shut down. Lack of battery life, so unfortunately, so we're gonna go back. We're gonna come back and recap on stuff we spoke on in the beginning, which was extremely important. But I'm gonna go ahead and post this up. So this will be 2 of 3. We're gonna come back and finish this off.